Hey everybody, welcome to Cinema Trip Reviews. We got a big show here for you. Beware the moon, because we are reviewing An American Werewolf in London with special guest Joe Scola from Movie Dumpster. Welcome back to Cinema Trip Reviews, reviewing American Werewolf in London with special guest Joe Scola from Movie Dumpster. How you doing, Joe?
Dude, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Vernon and Wyatt. Really appreciate it. And I cannot wait to talk about this flick. This is one of my favorite werewolf movies. So I'm psyched.
Yeah, I mean, we're big fans of yours. We just really appreciate you being on the show here.
Absolutely.
We got a lot to talk
Dude,
about.
The pleasure is all mine. Pleasure is all mine. Honestly.
But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. You know, American Werewolf in London is such a classic movie. Vern, this was your first time actually seeing the movie, right?
Exactly. And as soon as it was over, I'm doing my research on it afterwards, and coming to find this is consensus. General public is like, this is probably, besides that first werewolf movie, the black and white, this is generally the best werewolf movie, people think, and I was like, okay, it was awesome. It was from 1981 there. So it's a little bit older, by this point here, but I genuinely enjoyed it the whole way through. I was like just wondering what was going on, and just it was an intriguing story, so I could feel immediately afterwards, like, this is definitely, I could see how this is a classic.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people rank this up there as like a top werewolf movie, along with like The Howling and stuff like that.
That's what it was, The Howling. Yep, like that.
Oh, big time. Yeah. Well, they kind of came out like right next to each other, and there's a lot of like behind the scenes stuff that kind of links them both together for this. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, I saw
That's crazy. I can't believe you've never seen this movie ever.
This entire time. And the thing is, we were talking about beforehand. I've seen some of the other movies from this director here, and I had no idea this was even a thing. So I'm glad that Wyatt brought it to my attention here. He's like, go watch this movie. Gave me the login for Peacock, and I was just like on it immediately there, But it was great.
The guy who did Blues Brothers did a werewolf? Animal House, kinda.
And I was telling him beforehand as well, I could see a little bit of the comedic elements in the movie, like that, what he was going for. So it was great. I enjoyed it the whole time.
Yeah, I think a lot of the general reception at the time, I feel, was a lot of people were surprised because, John Landis, being synonymous with the Blues Brothers, Coming to America, and Animal House, like you said, Joe. Everybody was kind of expecting to go into like a comedy, more of a comedy than a horror, and it kind of was flip-flopped, was the other way around, which is little bits of comedic elements into the movie. But we mentioned The Howling, apparently, because you said this came out around the same time. From what I read, this was in the works for a while. Rick Baker was kind of getting tired of waiting for this, so he kind of hopped onto The Howling for a minute, and then I guess John Landis started this again, and then he's like, all right, I already committed to it. I guess I'll go back and do this movie here.
Yeah, so a young Rob Bottin was working under Rick Baker. So like you said, he was gonna do American Werewolf with Landis, Rick Baker, I mean. And then the project wasn't panning out, and Joe Dante was like, hey man, doing a werewolf movie, let's do it. And then John Landis was like, shit, I better make my werewolf movie, right?
Yeah.
So Rick Baker ends up jumping over to American Werewolf in London. Rob Bottin works on that a little bit, but then instead of letting The Howling go, Rob Bottin jumps back over and works on The Howling. So that's like his big werewolf movie.
Yeah.
Adopting what Rick Baker's doing and his techniques for American Werewolf to do The Howling. So
yeah,
like the change-o heads and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and this was a practical effects marvel at that time. Nobody ever saw anything like this at that time. Everybody was freaked out.
Yeah, it was like I think this was the first movie to win an Oscar for special effects. Am I right on that? I think so.
Yeah, I have that in my notes
that I was watching afterwards said that, and I was just like, wow. And like people were like surprised, because it's a horror movie. Generally you don't get that type of Academy recognition.
Yeah. And I do have the steelbook of the movie. It's like the full moon edition. Oh, nice. It does come with like all the like documentaries on it, and there is like a certain special feature where it's actually like them doing all the casts and the molding and actually making the practical effects for it, and it's very interesting.
It's so awesome. I think my first exposure to that was the Michael Jackson Thriller, the Making of Thriller video, because Michael Jackson saw Werewolf in London and was like, okay, I want to do that. Like, I want John Landis to come and direct this video, and I'll have Rick Baker do me up in the makeup. So the behind the scenes to that was like one of my first introductions to like the process, like the effects process, and that kind of just like got all those fires going in me and stuff. So so like you're saying on that DVD, I got the Arrow Blue, and that fucking thing is packed to the gills.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
With all the goodies and a booklet and all kinds of stuff. I mean, at nauseum the behind the scenes stuff on this. So,
but yeah, like you said, Rick Baker and John Landis went on to work with Thriller. I saw that apparently Michael Jackson was kind of iffy on doing Werewolves at the last second, just because he had like a kind of a clean image. He was worried about kind of giving out like satanic vibes and stuff like that. So they have like a disclaimer at the beginning of the video. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, it's because he loves horror movies, but to your point, you know what I mean? It's that whole like kind of weird Christian thing where he's like, I don't like the devil, but I like werewolves, so let's do it. Stop it, John. Stop tickling my feet, John.
Nothing's wrong with me.
Did you guys ever see the making of Thriller?
I've seen bits and pieces. I never sat down and watched it, no.
Oh my God, it's like a Halloween staple in this house. We watch it every Halloween.
Oh really?
Yeah, and I've watched it since I was a kid. And a cousin of mine who just passed away actually introduced me to that film. Or that behind the scenes. So that was a tape we'd watch as kids all the time. But there's a part in it where John Landis is like, it picks up Michael Jackson like over his shoulder and then like takes his shoe off and like tickles his foot and shit. And he's like, stop it, John. It's like, Michael Jackson's very ticklish. And I'm like, why are you touching this man?
Like, I'm glad they were filming that, like, so we have that moment of history.
What? No, watch.
No, Jack.
No, Michael, hold still. Watch.
No. You did that yesterday.
That's all.
Another just, behind BTS thing, like, just for like Michael Jackson in particular, he wasn't crazy about his self-image, so he like freaked out a little bit when he saw Rick Baker like cast his face and stuff. You could see it in that video, like his kind of disdain for the way he looks and that kind of whole path that he went down. It's a little sad, but it's a great making of, for sure, big time.
Yeah,
awesome. Definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, and just a couple little notes here. They did cut some scenes from the movie, just some extensive gore. Mainly, from what I saw, there's a scene in the movie where a bunch of hobos get attacked. Apparently, there was more to that, where it was a lot more gory. They cut that out, and apparently there was extended sex scenes as well that they ended up cutting out. Apparently, John Landis got a little, he got a little too excited, filming those scenes.
Wait. Jenny's naked. Come on, keep fucking rolling on this. Let's see them boobs.
But we did it in the shower. We got to move it to the bed. What if we do one in the kitchen of the apartment now?
Okay, wait. Take the covers down. I can't see the ass crack from this angle.
Like, John, you got to cut this out. We got like 20 minutes of sex scenes here. You got to cut it out.
We're
man.
good.
Oh, dude, that didn't end up on the cutting room floor, man. That's in like a fucking vault in his house or something.
He has those
in his vault.
tapes.
Like his fucking stag movie.
Oh my God.
And the last bit of stuff I have here is apparently the studio that they worked with wanted Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi in the lead roles.
Really?
Instead of like David Naughton and Griffin Dunne. And John Landis was just not about that. He was like, no, it doesn't work. We need kind of unknown actors, guys that just getting their feet wet in Hollywood.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi like doing this movie. It would not be the movie that it is. It's the same thing we always talk about. Like, what if the Ghostbusters had Eddie Murphy in it and all that? And it's like, nah, this
it just wouldn't have been.
It wouldn't be the masterpiece that it is. I guess is what I'm saying.
I would assume that Dan Aykroyd would have been David in this movie, and like Belushi would have probably been what's his name? I'm blanking out on it right now. Jack.
Oh, Jack? Yeah, Griffin Dunne. Yeah.
But I can't even imagine John Belushi then panning over and him just in that like crazy makeup with that claw marks across his face.
Ripped
like,
up.
hey, David. Eyes are all huge because he just did a bump or two before the shoot.
Sitting in that.
Oh my goodness! With that piece of skin flapping, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It wouldn't have worked. It would have took you way out of the movie. But yeah, we can hop right into it, man. Opens perfectly. The musical cues in this movie are great. Opens with Blue Moon going across like these nice European countrysides. It opens great. Sets the tone a little bit.
It does. It
Big
really
time.
does.
there's like what 4 or 5 different renditions of Blue Moon in this movie.
Yeah.
Or relating to the moon. Yeah.
Yeah. They have like this one, Creedence Clearwater they have in there. And there's another one.
Moondance, Van Morrison.
Dance. Yeah. There's a couple of them in there. But they're just kind of backpacking through the European countryside because apparently this is what people do. I never really see a lot of people just backpacking everywhere, but in horror movies it happens all the time, especially across European countrysides.
Us personally, I mean, I don't want to give out too much information, but we're like close to the Appalachian Trail. It's pretty long, so that doesn't really tell you too much. So like, I do see people walking along, the road sometimes, but like you're saying, it doesn't seem like something that it's generally happening a lot,
Especially going across going to Europe and just walking across the countryside you never even been to or know about, really.
To be honest, it sounds intriguing. It sounds like something I would like to do. I don't know if I would, but it sounds like something that's not out of the realm of possibility. So I could see this happening here.
I think it's also the English countryside. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are no bears or large cats or any of that kind of shit out there. There's no coyotes or nothing like that.
Like
so it's kind of different, And that's such a great plot point, in the beginning as we get into this, because it's like, well, what the fuck is this giant animal running around on the moors?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a dog.
It's a rap.
But you meet David and Jack, just getting off a sheep truck. Someone gave them a ride in the middle of the countryside. Specifically, they're just kind of chit-chatting, walking down the road. You get the mention of Debbie Klein, who is just a straight-up tease to Jack his whole life. Mm-hmm. But this does come up eventually again. But yeah, they make their way into...
She likes him too much,
But yeah, they make their way to the Slaughtered Lamb, which, is just an iconic horror location now that everybody knows about.
I see this and I'm just like, what are you doing? As somebody who's first time watching this movie, I'm just like, this is a terrible idea. And then as they proceed into the Slaughtered Lamb, everything stops.
Hello.
Typical, just fat, like everything stops. They're just all staring. Like, these two Yanks walk into our bar, our pub. It's just like I was tense in that moment. I'm like, oh God, what is going to happen here?
That whole scene is so good.
It is.
It's so great.
Bunch of red flags.
I always wanted
bunch of red flags.
Bunch of red flags.
I always wanted that sign to like hang up in my house, like near the bar or something. Never got it, not yet anyway. But
I know they make them. I've seen them before, especially like at some of these like conventions and stuff that I've seen them. But yeah, you got the sign of the Slaughtered Lamb, with the wolf's head bleeding and everything, and then you walk in and you have a big old pentagram on the wall that Jack points out. And
so bad timing, such bad timing. Everybody's laughing, having a good time. He's like, what's that?
Excuse me. Well, what's that star on the wall for?
Yeah, I don't know why you thought that was the best way to bring it up.
I was like,
I love how Jack's just like, he's like, oh, that's universal to Wolfman. That's the mark of the Wolfman.
Yeah.
Maybe the owner's from Texas, he says, or some shit like that. I don't know. It's written really well.
It's so funny. And the dude comes over. He's like, "You made me miss. I've never missed the board before.
Never missed that board before."
That dude is so intense. Like throughout even like because he helps him out later in the movie a little bit. Even then, he just has this intense face. Mm-hmm. Like he's not even in it that much, but he's just so intense. Even the other guy as well, who was telling like the joke.
Oh man, he's great. What's funny is he's in that one guy who's telling the joke is in The Company of Wolves with David Warner. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Another great werewolf movie, but it's just funny that it's parallel werewolf movies. Mm-hmm. That joke fucking kills it. I know the punchline every time, but it's still fun. I love when the guy like spits his beer out and shit.
Yeah,
and just the way he delivers it. This is so funny.
Yeah, and like the reaction is ridiculous because everybody is losing their minds to this joke. Yeah. It's so over the top.
Griffin dude's just like, hey, by the way, what's that fucking star on the wall?
Yeah, out of nowhere, man. It's so random.
What? He made me miss.
Made me miss. Like,
dude, this always blew my mind because it was like, okay, there's a werewolf out there, despite what these guys would say. just keep them in the tavern, right? There's no reason to like chase them off and be like, oh, I don't know, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but what happens eventually? They go and rescue him anyway, So it's just like, why even let him get out of the
change of heart? Yeah.
Yeah, it just.
Well, Vernon, because there's no movie. That's why.
I know. It's just I have another part where I'm like, I don't want to jump too far, so let's stay in the pub. Wyatt, you go on how you were. I'll get to whenever.
The only other thing is I just love that interaction with even like the bartender lady. Is she's just like, no food, no soup, no coffee. No. We can get you tea if you want.
Get tea.
Have tea?
So then you have tea. No, we don't have any tea, but I can make you some. There's no food here.
But she's obviously concerned about it, but she doesn't speak up. She expects all these other guys to speak up. And all they pretty much say is just beware the moon. Stay on the road.
Like they're supposed to know
beware
there's a werewolf.
Well, it's like you could stay on the road, but you can't really do too much about the moon.
Is the werewolf afraid of the road? I don't
know.
Get
you
it.
can't be attacked on the road. Is there, like,
explain that?
They have pentagrams drawn every 20 feet or something just to protect the road.
Maybe there's wolfsbane or some shit lining that particular road. I don't know.
But yeah, those are the only two rules you gotta abide. Just beware the moon, stay on the road, and they do neither, really. They decide, nope, we're just gonna go out on our merry way. Drink two little sips of that tea and roll on out of here. Thanks for working so hard for that tea.
Singing in the rain.
Yeah. Just singing in the rain, having a good time, and then they're like, oh, wait a minute, we're not on the road anymore. Like, how does that even happen? Oops. That's exactly what he says. Oops. And then that's whenever, it goes into one of the more intense moments of the movie. I love this scene.
Man, this is I think this is one of the best scenes in like horror cinema.
Yeah.
I love the way how it's just completely silent. There's no stingers or anything there is a stinger, but no musical cues or anything like that.
Yeah.
And if you're in a small room or a room that has surround sound in it, this is fucking terrifying, dude, because the werewolf is circling them on the moors, and it's even creepier because they have these spotlights on them, and then there's just the black fall off into nothing, and you can't see anything except this little spot that Griffin Dunne
all that
and David
fog
Naughton
covering
around
everything too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that they see something, and you can feel that, but they don't show it on the screen, so it's just even that more tense,
Yeah, and just the way how the camera's just kind of spinning with them a little bit as it's going around. It's so intense. And I feel like you can even tell without like surround sound as well. You can just tell with the way the positioning, and they even say like he's circling us. We're being followed.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It was great.
Great, very intense scene. And then you finally get the attack. It happens so abruptly too, because like he falls, and as he's picking him up, he gets attacked.
You really scared me, you shithead.
You gonna help me up or what?
But scares play so perfectly.
Oh yeah, and it's so brutal too, because he's just getting like, it kind of reminded me of Jaws there at the beginning, how she's getting whipped around in the water. Same way with him, you just see him just getting jerked around, blood flying everywhere,
just screaming like.
And David immediately says, "Fuck this, I'm out," and starts
takes
booking.
off. Which, cool, that's good idea, and then. This is where he fucks up. You turn around. Like, I know that's your boy.
Well,
like you turned around, and I'm like, oh my God, I wrote this down. Like, if you're gonna run, just keep running.
Yeah,
stick
to it.
He doesn't know what he's seen, and like he's panicking. He's like, oh shit, Jack, and I gotta go back. And like, I don't know. There's just something really human about it all. Like, especially like real, I guess. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because I feel like that's everybody's response, that fight or flight.
Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as he's running, he kind of comes into his senses a little bit, and is like, I can't do that. I got to help him, at least try a little bit, which I can understand, I guess, from a certain point. But as soon as you turn around, and if you see a big-ass wolf attacking your friend, there's not really much you can do. You don't have any knives or weapons or anything.
That too, yeah.
Get out of there.
He runs back to Griffin Dunne, and he's just a fucking grease spot, dude. It's just splayed all over the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catches that claw, and then next thing you know, all those people come up and from the tavern and shoot him, or shoot the werewolf there, and take care of that. Yeah. At that point, he's kind of looking around and all dazed, just took this huge claw.
Yeah.
I love the POV here where, we see David and like he looks up and it's just fog blowing over, and then he looks over and then he sees the dude like on his back with the big hole in the side of him and then passes out. It's just so good.
And then you wake up in the hospital, you get introduced to one of the other main characters of the movie, Nurse Alex Price, played by Jenny
Agutter.
Jenny Agutter, yep. And she's pretty great in this. She is a bit of a horn dog in this movie.
A little bit.
She's pretty thirsty in
I
this
love how
movie.
she's a sophisticated horn dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. she's got that British properness to her, but she's also like,
she's also
feisty.
Completely about it, 100% about it.
Yeah,
like,
100%
for whatever, but she's like not gonna let you know that, until you get there.
She's pretty forward, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just saying, like, as far as in the beginning, especially, like,
there's more than she lets on, because there's we'll get to it, but there's a point where she even says, like, I don't make it a habit of bringing young American men into my flat or whatever. And it's like, I don't believe you at all.
I don't believe you. This was too easy. Like, this happened too fast for that to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had 7 lovers in my life, and 3 of them, whatever. I'm like, Jesus, woman, your whole life story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you want to watch TV while I go take a shower? No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Cut. Right to the shower scene.
Yeah.
Keep rolling, baby. I need all of that fucking footage.
It's like John Landis is like, this is going to be the best part of the movie. People are going to remember this for years.
We need at least 3 hours to do this.
We're going to get real artsy on this one.
Oh God.
But like that, even for that first scene, you see her and that other nurse come in, and they're even talking about like taking a peek at men, like when they're like in the hot, or like getting them like bathed and dressed or whatever.
I think he's a Jew.
I think.
Had a look.
Doc's just like, oh, you nurses.
Have a function at this hospital or whatever.
Shouldn't there be something else you should be working on?
All of that, the way that's all delivered, like, it's dry British humor, but it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't even explain it.
And this is kind of off topic, but like me and Wyatt talk about this all the time. One of my favorite shows is Top Gear, so this was right up my alley here. Like the British, like I loved it, so I'll go about it.
But yeah, you also get to meet Dr. Hirsch, played by John Woodvine here. You don't really think he's going to be that integral to the story, and then he just kind of shows up like maybe a half hour, 40 minutes later into the movie. He's like, all right, I'm going to investigate this. Yeah, there's something fishy going on here.
He cracks the case, man.
He does. And I do have a problem, and for some reason I never noticed it until now, because they were saying like the cops were like, yeah, you were attacked by a man. Everyone claims they saw it. They ended up killing him. But they don't believe this werewolf story or this animal story, but he has these huge ass claw marks going across his chest.
Yeah.
I feel like it will be hard to replicate with anything,
They were like, oh, yeah. Well, they cleaned and dressed him and everything. They're like, yeah, it was a madman. I don't know. We killed him and he's dead. And yeah, the American's crazy. I don't know what he's talking about. He also says that he never sees. Nobody sees Jack's body. Apparently, the doc's like, I don't know. I didn't see it.
I thought they said something about him having a funeral back in the States, didn't they?
Yeah. So did they just bag him up and ship him out? Like nobody even examined him, and they just, case closed. That's it. It was a maniac.
He was attacked by a maniac. Get him out of here.
Yeah, that's like doesn't make any sense.
That's like UK logic, right? That's like Rawhead Rex. If you've seen that movie, there's an Inspector Gissing, and he's like, "Yep, it was a revenge killing. Couldn't have been a giant fucking pagan god that killed this guy, even though he's clearly ripped apart."
Yeah, like no need for investigation. Open and shut case, Johnson.
Case.
But with this, you start seeing him having these dreams and visions, and like the music during these visions are very very whimsical and kind of fantasy like in a way. I feel, and it's just visions of him just running naked in the woods, and he just bites this big ass chunk out of this deer, just wrestles it to the ground, just.
These are some of the best parts of the movie where he's like, I don't even know what you'd even call that, like some kind of internal struggle while he's being taken over by the lycanthropy, I guess. I don't know, like these fever dreams that he gets putting himself through.
Yeah.
I don't know of another movie that has even done that, with the exception of the god awful sequel to this movie.
To be honest, I have never seen it because I know how bad it is. So I think you're our
Don't need
expert
to.
in that one.
Don't bother yourself. Don't even suffer because it's insufferable. It's really bad, and I know
That's
people
what
who
I
like
hear.
that movie, and I apologize, but like that is some like nostalgia shit if I ever heard it, right? They like
Yeah.
that, like you saw that as a kid and you were like, man, I remember that movie, so that's why I like it, because outside of that movie is fucking dog shit. Like it's real bad.
I remember even telling
Anyway.
Vern when I sent him the link for it and everything. I was like, make
Yeah,
sure you
just
watch
for-
London, not Paris. Paris is the one you don't want to watch.
This
and
is big CGI werewolves, Tom Everett Scott's fucking a
God.
dog. I don't know.
And I'm pretty sure the reason I actually seen, like, the first time I ever watched this movie was because AMC every year has like Fear Fest or whatever the hell they're calling it
Yeah.
that year. They have different names for it. And I remember as a kid, they used to show, for some reason, they would always show American Werewolf in Paris and not London for some reason. And I remember watching just bits and pieces of it, not knowing what it was. And my dad was like, no, you're not watching this. And we went out and we like got American Werewolf in London, and then we ended up watching it. And pretty much like you were saying, there's no reason to watch that second one.
No. And we covered it for our Trick or Trash. Like the first year we did
Yeah.
like our first year doing the show. And there's a whole backstory about like the production problems getting that made, and it really has to do with the studio just not knowing what to do with the property and not letting, because I think it was like a first or second time director that wanted to put it together, and he wrote it and storyboarded it, wanted to do practical effects, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
He was going to get Tony Gardner to do it or whatever, and that just all went kaput.
fell apart.
And then we have the trash that we have.
He wakes up from his dream, as we've seen in some of these other John Landis movies. We get the Frank Oz cameo in here, and this
Mr. Kessler.
yeah, his character, as he's like he's freaking out, like what he's a madman, or he's like, as the doctor's trying to calm him down, he's trying to talk with him, and like, you shouldn't be talking to him as he's going through this. Wait until he's over his little fit before you try to talk to him.
It just seemed unnecessary. Like he's just like, what information are you going to get out of him right now?
And
You know?
he takes it.
He's also like yelling at him.
Yeah, he takes it
And
personally.
I'm going to do this. Yeah.
He takes it personally, like he's freaking out on him because he's like, "Damn kids have no respect today," or whatever the hell he says.
These dumbass kids, they never appreciate anything you do for them.
Yeah, it's always hilarious to see him in there.
Scotland Yard investigating, and the partner is kind of a comic relief in a way. Every time you see this partner, he's either like bumping into something, or else he's fucking the investigation up in some way, just saying something
Oh my
stupid.
God. And it's great. Like the part whenever the cop leaves and he shuts the door door
it's a
behind him,
scene.
and he's
Yeah.
just kind of like, make sure you do it, and he turns around and just doors already
Almost
shut.
walks right
it's that
into it.
British it's that British humor that you're talking about. It's so dumb, it's so dry, but it hits perfectly, and I'm like, yes. Like,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Give me that. Give me more of it.
Yeah, because they were like, "Oh, can we get you anything?" And the head dude's like, "No, we're good." He's like, "Well, I'll take like a coffee or something if you have."
Yeah. And he looks at him like,
"You serious?" And then he like leans back and knocks all the shit off the shelf.
It's so funny.
Yeah, but that was pretty decent scene. That's where they're pretty much saying that the doctor doesn't. They're just talking about how it was an attack, how it couldn't have been a wolf, and all this, kind of showing the cover up in a way.
Right.
Scotland Yard is investigating it, but you get one of the, even though it's such a short scene, you get one of the most memorable scenes in this movie here with the next dream and vision nightmare he has. That creepy ass setting in the woods, and you just see the hospital bed with him in it from far
Yeah.
away. I
Yeah.
love that shot.
It's very eerie.
and just that fucking stinger with him with like the eyes and the teeth and everything.
Yeah.
It's just freaky, man.
Yeah, and I mean that's clearly, you see, that's where they get like the thriller stuff from a little bit, like the eyes.
Oh,
and
big
everything.
time, yeah. Mhm.
And I honestly didn't know, I didn't connect the dots there as far as like that the same guy that did the practical effects did Thriller in this movie here.
Yeah.
So, and I was picking up Thriller vibes the whole time. I kept thinking about it, but like I didn't know. So like that's awesome, So especially in this scene where you're saying it just turns to him and he's got those teeth and the eyes, and I was like, this just feels like
yeah.
Thriller to me.
Yeah, it's such a small part of the movie, but everything you see on it, there's usually that picture in it associated with it somewhere.
There's pins, there's T-shirts, there's all kinds of shit.
couple
And
editions
the
of the
dream sequences
Blu-ray
in
have it
particular.
on.
Yeah. And then, well, I'll let you get to it because that's the last dream is my favorite dream.
She checks in on David. He's not hungry. She actually has to feed him. And then you kind of get the little bond between them. But they don't know each other enough. This is really the first kind of talk that they actually have together before she just decides, yeah, you can come stay with me.
Yeah, come
I'm
to
just
my
gonna let
house.
this. I'm gonna let this guy I
just makes
barely
that
know
decision,
who's
yeah.
having crazy visions and dreams. Probably should be maybe committed or analyzed a little bit here. No, I'm just gonna let him stay at my crib. No problem.
And fuck them, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what
right
we're-
away.
That's the plan.
Immediately.
Immediately, like when they get in the door, pretty much. That goes into the other dream here, and I'm pretty sure this is the dream that you want to talk about, Joe.
Oh yeah, dude, this scared the shit out of me as a kid, and it's the Nazi werewolf demon dream.
Yeah, it comes out of
That's-
nowhere.
The way, again, there's no music. It's just the fucking door gets kicked in. We're shooting machine guns, kicking out a TV, shooting kids, lighting shit on fire.
I feel like I forget
It's
about it every
insanity.
time I watch the movie because it starts. It seems like it's a flashback, like before he goes on the
Yeah,
trip or something.
yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay,
It opens with
every
like a
single
scene of the
time.
Muppets.
Yeah, it is.
They're
Yeah.
watching the Muppets on TV. Yeah.
It just gets so chaotic so fast. And like you said, I was trying to figure out, it's like, are these Nazis? Are these werewolves? Like, what is going on? Until I realized, like, this is a vision or a dream or something, but like, that was one of the wildest scenes in the movie as well.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
just pure chaos for like 45
Kicking the
seconds.
door, just blasting everything, and it all culminates with them slitting his throat. It's
Yeah,
nuts.
and I was thinking, like, they were just sitting there with holding him, like, just watch all of this happen, and then I'll kill you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, God, it's so brutal.
I didn't think about it till like right this second, but like this is like the personification of the full. We're coming full circle with the werewolf stuff. Like he's fully transformed now. This is the wolf inside him, kicking the fucking door down, killing everybody he loves around him, and taking him over.
And
You
he's
know?
no
Yeah.
longer the person he was before.
Yeah.
Damn, yeah.
Yeah.
I never
Killed his
thought
own
about it like that.
teeth there. Like,
Yeah,
that's
killed his own
crazy.
self.
It literally just clicked as we're talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. See that though, 100%. That's insane. And as you see from the rest of this movie here, he's the werewolf at this point.
Yeah. When he wakes up from his dream, that's when you get his first interaction here with Jack. Jack is.
Can I have a piece of toast? That's my favorite fucking line
You
of the
gonna eat
movie.
that?
That was-
But yeah, and this kind of goes on throughout the movie. But just the special effects in this alone are amazing. Just like
Yeah.
how you said, that skin flap hanging off. The claw
Oh, yeah,
marks
the little
across
thingy.
his face.
Mhm.
It looks fantastic. But pretty much going into the main plot of what's going to be happening from here on, what's going to be in David's head, David has to die. All these guys, everybody that's been killed by these werewolves are kind of trapped in a purgatory and are not able to leave until the curse has been stopped. Pretty much the last
Mhm.
werewolf has been killed. You
That's
gotta
a
kill
pretty
yourself,
heavy
David.
lore for this movie, right? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like we were talking about before with John Landis doing all the comedies and doing this. Like you don't expect that to just kind of come out of Griffin Dunne, and he's just like, yeah, by the way, here's the list of things that how it happens and what's going to happen, and I can't go home until you kill yourself. You ever talk to a corpse? It's boring.
It's boring.
But it's cool though because like it's in there and you don't realize that it's there, that it's has this really good story, and you're like, wow, why is this so fucking good? Oh, that's why, because they gave a shit when they were writing it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not just like some goofy thing where this guy's a werewolf,
Yeah, and it's really something that hasn't been done before or after, really. This is kind of its own little thing, and that's what makes it so special. And it's just done so well.
People have taken from this like
Oh yeah, absolutely.
not verbatim, I forgot the wholesale they taken from this wholesale, yeah.
Just stealing bits and pieces of it.
Oh, big time, yeah.
Yeah, but that freaks him out. He goes into another like crazy screaming fit, and this is as the nurse comes in, and then she pretty much invites him over. Like right after this, like dude was just screaming,
Yeah,
saying he's having
it's like-
visions of his dead friend. No, it's all right.
Oh,
I'll take
yes.
care of you. Don't worry.
And it's wild because, like you said, this crazy guy that she just met in the hospital was sitting here telling her, "Oh yeah, my dead friend is telling me I have to kill myself because I'm going to turn into a werewolf." And she's like, "Oh, come over, just come lay in my bed, stay in my house."
This is a I can fix you kind of relationship
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
and she's getting hot from it.
She's
for
like,
sure.
"Ooh." And she even mentions it.
This
She's
dude's
like,
broken.
yeah, what does she say? She's like, "I don't know if I'm oh God, what does she say? I forget the way she
I
words
know what
it,
you're
but she pretty
saying.
much says that in the movie. Like she's like, I don't know if I'm in love with you or if I want to help you. You're so, just
Or if you're like
she
I'm
knows
crazy
it.
or something.
He knows it, but one thing to another, she invites him over, and they're in the house together there.
Yeah, and like we mentioned, it immediately pretty much goes into, I'm taking a shower. Well, okay, I'm going to join you. And then goes into like a 5-10 minute sex scene here that even had to be cut out, had stuff cut out of it, like we mentioned before. John
Landis
Landis
was
got
like,
a
we're
little
playing
extra
the entire song of Moon Dance is getting played while
Yeah,
while we
here's
see
just
Video got ass.
a music video to that song of just them
Yeah.
fucking.
Don't worry about the music video. I'll film
You
it.
get it? Because they're having sex. It's their they're bonding or whatever.
Exactly. Gotta show this.
This is a very important piece if you like American Werewolf in Paris, because this is where Judy Delpy is conceived.
Oh,
I do know, yeah, that's like, it involves his kid,
Yeah.
or their kid, right?
That's who Judy Delpy plays in the
Yeah.
sequel. You wouldn't know that, but it is.
interesting. Okay.
And
so I haven't seen
I'm
the
making
second
it
one
sound
yet.
more interesting than it is.
I haven't seen. That's what I mean. I know that everything that I've seen on this movie is telling me how bad Paris is. So,
It's
but I
just
haven't seen it. So,
You know what? You should watch it.
Go
That's
watch
right.
it.
You should go watch that movie, and so you can appreciate how good this one is.
and then go watch the movie dumpster episode talking about the movie.
Oh my goodness! There you go. Yeah.
perfect.
But like you said, it's pretty much a music video of just them fucking to this song. And it reminds me, not to this extent, but Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon, where you just have that music video of DeBarge just in the middle of this movie, a whole song. The actual music video is in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
He does have another vision of Jack that night, and he's a little bit more decomposed, and he's like, come on, man, what are you doing? I'm waiting here for you. Like, come on, you gotta kill yourself. You're gonna turn.
Gotta kill yourself.
Like, people are gonna die.
I love that evolution of the corpse. As he's like slowly decaying and getting worse and worse off. And rotting more and more. I love that little detail there.
Yeah, and I love that
last,
shot.
That
where
last
you see
form we'll talk about.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. But I love that shot where they introduce him, because he goes to that bathroom, and as he closes the mirror, you see Jack there, and I just love that shot too. And he's even just more
Hey, David.
decomposed, just a dark green, just looks even more gross. It's great.
Looks tore up.
Looks like Ted Danson from Creepshow. Yeah.
yeah, true. Pretty much, he's just reiterating, just like trying to stress how important this is. Like, dude, you're not getting it. Like, you're gonna end up killing a lot of people here unless you kill yourself. You got to do something. I know you want to have fun with this nurse here in London. Go get your kicks, but come on, man, you got to do it for the greater good.
Just doesn't believe it. He doesn't fully believe it yet.
We have that vision here. It's also interrupted by her waking up, him talking to himself in the middle of this living room. Another huge red flag to this lady that she's just
I heard voices.
clearly ignores.
Come
Goes to
back to
TV.
Come back to bed. Come on. You're crazy. Come back to bed.
But yeah, that's whenever you kind of kick into the doctor that starts the investigation here. He's like, something isn't right. I'm going to drive out to the slaughter lamb, try to figure some stuff out. And he pretty much gets the same reception that David and Jack got walking into the place, especially asking questions immediately.
Oh, yeah, big time.
But yeah, once again, it's like, nope, we don't have any food. There's no food here. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
He doesn't even finish his Guinness, dude.
Yeah,
He gets a
that
Guinness,
bothers
takes a
me
sip
so
out of
much.
it, and just leaves.
Yeah,
that bothered so much because
Like, well, I'm gonna head out.
He's like literally a full beer. All right, well, and he got 2 drinks. Didn't he? He got 2 drinks, and he just, he just one sip out of the Guinness. All right, well, I'll be leaving then, and I'm like, oh my god,
that always pisses me off and stuff, man.
Oh,
Like,
God.
me and my girl recently rewatched Twin Peaks, and I feel like every single fucking episode, they like at the diner, they have coffee and pie, and they never eat it. They just leave. They order
never
it, and then
touch
it
it.
comes, and it sits there. They're having their conversation, like, all right, we're gonna go, and it's just sitting there. Like, what did you order it for?
I put it.
But yeah, you kind of get. I mean, you already knew that all these people at the slaughter lamb knew what was going on in this area,
Yeah.
and then they're kind
Yeah.
of discussing
whatever
amongst
reason.
themselves, like, maybe we should tell them, like. And they all discuss it even after the beginning of the movie with David and Jack, and they do a lot of discussing, and everybody's kind of like, all right, maybe we should tell him, but they never do really
No.
at
Like,
all.
why is
No.
the section of town keeping it such a big secret? Like, people should probably know
Well-
about this, you know?
Well, the guy outside like kind of alludes to it because he's like, "Hey, what where was the American kid and blah blah blah." And doesn't he say something? Doesn't he like kind of spill the beans sort of here? And then the
Yeah.
guy's like, "That's enough."
Yeah.
That's enough.
He
Yeah,
just
because it's
runs
very
off.
creepy. Because the guy leaves. He's like, I've had enough of this. I'm leaving. And then he leaves. He
Yeah.
doesn't even finish his beer and then goes outside. He's walking to his car. And you just see the guy in the background just sitting there in the rain
Just
staring at him.
staring
Just
at
like-
The dark guy.
yeah. just sitting
And then,
there
like,
waiting in the
It's
shadows.
even more weird how he just like, immediately as soon as he sees him, this doctor is just okay, and he walks right over to him, like
Like, what if the
immediately.
doctor
like,
just got in his car
doctor-
and left? The guy's like, oh shit, I thought he would have saw me here. I've been waiting in the rain for this guy. But like you said, yeah, he kind of lets the doctor in on everything. And it all culminates, yeah, like you said.
That's enough! That's enough!
It just holds on him just with that weird face for
Yeah.
just like
way
He
too
says it,
long.
like twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It cuts back to him and
God.
he's still sitting there with the scowl on
That's
his face.
enough.
oh god. The doctor just slowly walks back to his car. He's like, oh, I guess that's enough.
It really was enough. Yeah.
Enough. But yeah, it cuts back to David kind of hanging out at this apartment. She's going to work and everything. He kind of gets locked out of the apartment. He finds out dogs and cats are afraid of him or just
Yeah.
don't react to him at all. He just start
Yeah.
losing their shit. He has to climb through this window, and then he's just kind of bored as hell. And you get a montage, just him
I
hanging
love his
out.
montage. Just the music playing, him just bored as hell. Like a little kid.
Still not hungry.
Still not hungry.
Yep. Goes checks the fridge a couple times, like the one part he's
Nope.
laying in the bed just rolling over like a restless little kid, like, man, just chill, like relax. Like,
Picks up a
but
book.
I know he's going through a lot.
Picks up a book that's
I love how they
he's already at the end of and decides to start reading all of a sudden for some reason. He picks it up. It's like, oh, I'm going to start reading from here at the end. Nope, don't want to read.
Maybe it was a manga. You read it back.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly what it was.
It could have been.
Perfect. I gained some
I love how
respect
they.
for it.
I love how they set it up though, where he like goes and he like opens the door to the outside and he's like, I thought I wanted some fresh air, and then just leaves it open.
Yeah,
I
And
thought.
that's how he can get out later.
Yeah, I thought that was
Oh.
weird as well.
Yeah,
the
I
way
didn't
that
even-
he left both
That didn't even
doors open.
click.
Yeah, because it's like, well, how the fuck is this werewolf gonna
Getting
get
in
out of
and
this
out.
apartment?
Without busting through
And
windows and
he's-
walls.
He keeps it pretty nice and tidy though. Well, I'm sorry, we'll talk about it. He doesn't trash the fucking apartment when he turns into a werewolf. Anyway,
Yeah, and I mean we might as well get into it because that's the next part. And this is probably maybe one of the most painful looking werewolf transformations in the history of cinema. I feel.
Absolutely, man. It was
It's
brutal.
still king. It's
Oh,
still
yeah.
king. I mean, the Eddie Quist transformation, the Rob Bottin one in The Howling is great, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
love it. But this will always be the best. It has yet to be topped.
Yeah, just the agony that he displays, just screaming, just, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm burning up inside!" And they must
Ripping
have
his
just dumped
clothes off.
a bucket
immediately
of
gets
water on
naked.
him because he's just pouring sweat. Yeah, he's taking his clothes off and he's just in agony, and you can just feel for him
Oh,
at
dude.
this moment.
You get a lot of stuff for the ladies in this, man.
Oh yeah,
With it, you get his butt, you get his dong, you get the whole thing.
The part
but
where
no,
you
to your
see
point.
his I'm sorry, the spine coming out. I feel like
Oh,
that part
yeah.
itself was so just like you're saying, painful to watch. Like
Yeah.
imagine your body deforming like that to the point where your
Yeah.
feet are
The
rough
hand
to a
when
different-
the hand
his
stretches.
hands enlarging. I feel like the most painful one for me is the face, where you see the snout just kind of cracking his face and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
pushing out.
Yeah.
Oh my God, every time it's so it's
Dude.
so gross and it's great though.
That effect took like 6 months to make just to push it out a few
Mhm.
inches.
Yeah.
And when they got it on set, John Landis was like, "Okay, we got it. That's it." And Rick Baker's like, "No way." He's like, "What do you mean that's it?" He's like, "We got to shoot more of this. I spent 6 months doing
Spent
this one
so
thing." He's like,
much
"No,
time.
we're good. We got it."
Oh
man.
my
But
god.
when his feet stretch out
Oh
too,
yeah.
the sound design in this scene is really disgusting too. Like I can't even. It sounds like somebody's sucking bones through a straw. That's
Yeah.
the only way I can
Yeah.
describe it. It's like cracking and slurping and sucking, and I don't know.
And it's just playing
Oh,
that
God.
like 50s, like was it Blue Moon that they play over that too, or is I forget what song
Yeah.
they play over that.
I think they're playing the Sam Cooke Blue Moon.
The Sam
at this
Cooke
point.
one. Yeah. But they're playing that over it, which makes it that much better because he's just screaming and agonizing over this, nice,
Mickey's
song.
sitting there, the little
Yo,
Mickey's
that-
sitting there
yeah.
like this. Yeah.
They cut over to Mickey just sitting there like, like I just, oh my god, it was so great. I love the way it was directed in this scene here, the way it was shot.
When he flips over and his like whole body's
his torso
like,
stretching.
So
his ribs are showing and everything. It's fantastic how it looks though.
Yeah.
It's even effects that are being done today, the rare practical effects that you see done today don't look this good,
Yeah.
I mean, this is like 10 or 15 different makeups for this one scene that's what, like a minute and a half, 2 minutes long tops.
Yeah.
I don't even know how long it is.
Because a couple of different
just
times.
think about that. We're talking about like 4, 5, 6 hour makeup jobs.
Yeah.
And there's again like 10 or 15 different makeups in this and or animatronic shots. So it's hefty.
It took a lot of time to do this one scene.
Yeah, it deserved that Academy Award for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only did you have to deal with all of this, but then you had 3 different forms of Jack as well that you had to do for these tiny scenes as well. Those weren't very, very big scenes as well. So Rick Baker's like, oh, we got all this good stuff, but man, you probably could have put it in the movie a little bit more. Come on, man. You gotta put a little bit more in there.
John's good about that
You
because John was like,
look, we sex scenes out and put a little bit more practical effects.
Shoot more of the werewolf. No. We need to see more of Jenny. Nah, not the werewolf.
This is essential to the movie, Rick. Come on.
But the makeup is just fucking incredible. This whole scene is amazing.
Yeah.
And like you said, not only the Jack makeups too, but there are like other bits of gore that are happening. Like again with the mall scene in the beginning, and we get some decapitations later. And I think this segues right into. Does this not segue into the subway scene?
Yeah, the guys.
The
walking,
subway is
right?
a little later, I believe. You
Is
get
it?
the
Okay.
you get the couple that are going to the dinner at their
Oh,
friend's
the
house.
couple. That's right.
Yeah, they're just kind of
They're going
walking
to
through,
scare
and then they're like,
somebody.
"Oh, let's not go through the front entrance. We're gonna surprise them through the back, and then let's
go
go
scare
through
them around the
back.
back.
Let's go scare them.
You're so bad.
Give them a fright."
I love them so much, especially later.
But yeah, they get mauled. Dead meat.
Of course.
You knew that was coming. And you even have like his buddies like, "What's going on out there? I thought I heard something." And they're like, "What is that?" And they're like looking out the window, and as he's
Got
like
all
investigating, he
glasses.
steps on like the ripped off arm and just blood everywhere.
Oh yeah, steps in that goo, which is also kind of played for comedy too.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of black comedy in this, yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of black comedy in this. And then that cuts to the the hobos kind of sitting there at the river.
Mother of
With the
God!
dog. With
Yeah.
the dog.
Yeah, with the dog, and that's actually what I mentioned at the beginning of the program here. There are deleted scenes apparently from this. They had, actual attack footage and gore from this that they ended up having to cut out. And one thing I didn't mention here that I had in my notes, apparently John Landis, after filming this, showed this to the studio execs, and they thought it was too gory, and they're like, you got to go out and edit some of this stuff out. And apparently the legend is that John Landis went back and showed them the same exact cut of the movie without anything cut out, and they thought it was like, "Yep, that's great. Keep up with the good work."
Wow.
They did that. They did it a lot back then, man, because the studio cuts were bullshit. So
Yeah.
they would do exactly what John did, and a lot of times they got away with it. So
They should have did
Wow.
that with Friday 13th Part 7 and like
Part
you
7.
mentioned talking about in the episode today for Hack the Movies.
oh man,
Like that movie was decimated with studio cuts and stuff. But that's
like
another
like
story.
real bad though, yeah.
But yeah, that was another thing that was cut out. But yeah, that goes into what you mentioned, the subway attack, which is probably one of the better scenes in the movie as well. How it was shot.
This is terrifying, and
yeah.
again, like I don't think I couldn't even tell you another movie that has done this and this successfully.
Oh yeah,
right?
it's so creepy.
These
The POV
and
shots.
it's so not only the POV shots, but it's just so open.
Oh
like
yeah.
it's not claustrophobic at all. Well, maybe kind of, but like there's a lot of like going down these tunnels, and there's a lot of going up the escalator, and that huge wide shot where it's
Oh, yeah.
chasing the dude, and he's like going up the escalator, and you see the big wolf like from the bird's eye view
From the
come out
bottom
from
of the
the corner of the
escalator, just kinda
frame.
creeping in, and then it
Ugh.
cuts as soon as you see too much of it too.
And that was creepy to me because I didn't think they were going to show it in that scene. And then you see it, like you said, just creeping out of the shadows, like from his perspective, and it's wild.
Yeah, you get the whole thing
that's
from
my favorite scene.
Yeah, I agree. You get the whole thing from his from the wolf's point of view too. Like from when he sees him, he's like, "Oh, mother of God, what is that?" And he takes off. I find it hard to believe there's only one guy in the subway tunnel, though. I feel like there would be more people in the subway at this point.
It was late.
But it must have been really late.
Everybody got on the train except him, right? Or he got off or something.
He was the only person that got off.
He's a really good actor too, because a lot of it is him just running from a camera, right? And he's like falling over shit, and he's like got his briefcase and his umbrella and stuff. He actually jacks himself up pretty good. He like face plants into the escalator.
Oh,
and gets all
I've thought about that. I was like, man, how bad would that hurt? Especially an escalator in the 80s, you know, like Jesus, like that's gotta be solid steel, that Pennsylvania steel right to the face. Like, you know, like, oh my God. And then, like you said, he's bleeding and everything just from that. So
like, just when you think about it, you only see the werewolf a little bit in this scene. And it's one of the scariest sequences of the film. So like, think about that, and then like how much it's pushed to like show the creatures in like movies now. You know what I mean? Because like maybe it didn't work that great, or they didn't want to show too much of it, or what have you. But like you only see it from that bird's eye view of it, right? I'm almost positive there might be a close up of its face, but I don't think so.
Yeah, you just see that bird's eye view where it just kind of creeps in the frame a little bit, and then right before you see too much, it cuts away.
And like, you know, it's the werewolf, right? And then your imagination does the rest.
Right. Still leave that mystery. Like, what does it actually look like? What's the full thing look like?
But I love the look of that tunnel he's running through, you know, with all those posters and shit plastered all over the walls.
Had the orange poster on it, kind of like foreshadowing for the future of the movie there.
Yeah.
Am I seeing that right? When I saw that, I was like,
and it's usually you have like a green or like cool tone, but it's all warm and like yellow.
Yeah, just like looks like it's lit by the subway lights a little bit.
Yeah.
But then you get one of the funnier parts of the movie, him waking up with the wolves, just butt ass naked in this zoo, and immediately you're like, did David fuck one of these wolves? I'm pretty sure he did.
He might have.
I'm pretty sure he
might have. So is it, like, where it's implied they actually go ham on that in American Werewolf in Paris. Anyway,
I think you mentioned something
the
about
zookeeper.
That
Isn't there somebody like walking around this fucking place? They didn't see this giant thing come in or hear this thing get in?
Yeah, because as you see in the scene, there's people walking around the zoo. So you think somebody would have noticed this grown naked man in with the wolves at some point while the zoo's been open for a little. And plus, not only is he in there, the whole corner of the cage is just caved in too.
Yeah,
nobody would have noticed.
Like, nobody noticed this, and the dude just like, oh my God. But I'm happy that he
ruckus in there. This thing,
he got out.
All the other animals going fucking crazy when this giant wolf is prowling the zoo,
hissing at him, howling at him.
Yeah.
But I love that scene. You know, he just kind of just climbs out of the enclosure there and just running around from tree to a bush. And probably a scene you wouldn't get nowadays with the little kid. He's like, "Hey, kid."
I thought about this.
Just
like,
naked
I was
guy
like,
in a
oh
bush.
God, this is terrible.
I'll give you $5 for them balloons.
He's like, no. He's like, okay, I'll get you $10. Okay, and he walks over, and I'm like, oh my God.
Was smart for a minute. He's like, I shouldn't talk to strangers.
So he doubled it.
A naked American man stole my balloon.
Yeah, a naked American man stole my balloon.
She's
dummy.
like, what?
What?
Hard cut.
What? And just that he runs past that old lady too, and she's like, oh my.
Oh my
Takes her
God.
fucking coat off the
he
the
rips the
bench.
coat. I love that scene where he's just kind of standing at the bus stop, just in that coat next to those businessmen. So how's it going?
In bare feet.
Yeah.
Just, God.
He goes back to the apartment. She's been looking for him. He's been missing this whole time. She calls the doctor, like, "Hey, David's missing. Something's going on here." Finally shows up. He tells her this, like, he's feeling great. He's feeling better than he's ever felt in his life.
Never felt like this.
Never
Biting
felt
on
like
her.
this. Yeah,
I got a belly full of people, you know.
Nibbling on her and everything. And he tells her the story, and she just is totally fine with it. It's just like, yeah, it's like,
You woke up with wolves?
woke up naked and with these wolves, and I feel great. I don't know what happened. I was in the apartment, and then I woke up, and she's like, oh yeah, that's fine. You can still stay here though.
Care for a shag. Yeah.
I'm gonna call a doctor.
But yeah, as they're they're going to the doctor because the doctor wants to see him immediately.
Yeah.
They're walking down the street, and immediately he sees that people were killed that night, and then it clicks like, oh shit, that's what happened. I was out here killing people. The prophecy was foretold. Jack was right. Jack was right.
And then you get a pretty emotional scene. Well, actually, before that, he goes and he tries to get himself arrested.
Yeah, he tries to get himself arrested.
Doesn't believe him at all. He's just like, "What are you doing? Get out of here! Nothing to see here."
I'm a werewolf, lock me up! And he's pushing him and shit.
It's like, Jesus Christ, what do I got to do to get arrested? Yeah.
Oh my God!
Arrest me! I'm begging you, please.
I'm begging you.
I killed those people last night, and he's like, "Oh, you're putting me on."
Get on there, I'm lying.
Well, tell me that, eh?
I feel like as a policeman or a Bobby in this case, you would be like,
oh yeah.
I feel like if someone tells you they murdered someone, you would immediately want to question them or take them in for something.
You gotta do
He's like,
something
no,
about
you're putting me on. You're joshing me.
I think a lot of people did that though.
Did they?
Right? Like whenever whenever there was like a big killing or some kind of big thing. I know that like a lot of times, when there was like a serial killer at large, there was a lot of people who came in and be like, I did it. I killed them all, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And it clearly wasn't them for whatever purpose, whether they're lonely or trying to gain notoriety or something.
Yeah,
I don't know what.
Fame or something.
So yeah, basically. So it's like, get the fuck out of my face. This guy's talking about being a werewolf. Lock him up. Get out of here.
Killing people.
I ate those people last night.
You're crazy. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here.
But yeah, and then he refuses the help. He's like, nope, I gotta deal with this myself. I gotta go on. And then he just leaves her. And I think this is what you were gonna get at here, Vern, where you're talking about the emotional scene, because he
runs off and he calls like his family or something there.
He goes to a phone booth. Remember phone booths?
Yeah. It's a typical Red London one, so it's perfect for the movie. He hops into it and he's talking to his family. Yeah. I think it's like it's a little girl, right? It's his little sister
he's talking to.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's telling her, I love you, I love the family and everything, and then you see him pull out like a Swiss Army knife type pocket knife, which looks dull as shit. It looks like the one from 127 Hours with James Franco. I was like, oh my God. And he can't do it. He can't bring himself to do it.
If you're gonna kill yourself, why would you do it that way, man? That's gonna be like the most painful. Like, go down in that subway and jump in front of that train or something, man. Come on, like do something else.
Anything else?
Somebody's got to have a gun, right? Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I know the cops don't carry guns, but maybe somebody's got one somewhere.
What does he do immediately after he couldn't kill himself? He's gonna go to a porn theater.
Because he sees his friend there, staring at him from across the street. Goes right over.
Yeah, Jack's like outside.
I forgot Jack is standing outside there. Yeah, draws him in. And I love
going
this
in
scene.
for a wank. That's what he's doing. Yeah. He's like, I figure I'd crank it and then I'll kill myself.
That would have been, and they don't show that in the movie. I feel like it would have been real awkward him talking to himself in this theater with a bunch of people just beating themselves off.
It's actually no, but to your point, it's like the best place to do that because everybody else in the theater is not paying attention because they're already like embarrassed to be there kind of thing.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're all to themselves. It's a fucking porn show. You know what I mean? Nobody's talking to each other.
They're having a nice conversation.
It's a good film, man.
It's a great conversation.
But I love this scene because you get Jack and he's more decomposed as ever. He's pretty much just a skeleton with some skin hanging on him.
Puppet. It looks
a skeleton puppet. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It looked like something out of like Coco or something like that, movie like it's just what do they call it? Like Kalaka skulls, I think, or something like
the
that.
Sugar skulls and stuff.
Yeah,
something like that.
Almost to me, but I love this scene as well because as you go on, you see all the people that he killed that night.
Yeah.
You know, they show up as well, and they're talking to him and telling him, you gotta kill yourself, giving him all these different ways to kill yourself, and just being like, oh, drowning, you know, throw yourself in front of a bus.
Yeah.
It's just,
I love how Jack's like, I'm sorry.
Activities.
And I love how Jack's like, I'm sorry, this is just the way it has to be. And like everyone's always like, I'm not sorry. I hope he dies. I hope he kills himself. Yeah, I hope it's the worst way imaginable.
You could get yourself with a electrocution. The couple, they're so funny.
Because they're so happy
Car
still.
crash.
Oh god. But it's a great.
Do you mind? The guy's a friend of mine.
He's like, of course you feel that way. You're still alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that scene. And of course, you know, the movie, he stays in there a little too long. He starts transforming. He even tells the guy, like, get out of here. You gotta leave. Leave me be.
The guy's just like, huh?
The usher comes in.
Yeah. Like, what?
At this, when they were getting, you know, killed as they were coming in the theater, I felt like it was a video game at this point. Like I was like, I've been here before, where I'm the character standing in a first person game, or like single player, as they come around the corner, bow bow bow. They come around the corner, bow bow bow. You know, and like the computer comes around. I'm like, do not keep walking in this theater. That's all I kept thinking. But you're not gonna know what's in there until you get in there. But I just like,
well, it's like, what the hell's going on in there?
Yeah.
It's quiet. He gets killed. Another one rolls in. Like it felt like a video game moment to me. I was like, oh my god,
the show's getting rowdy. Yeah.
He proceeds to just massacre everybody in this theater. And I love that scene, like when the cop goes in to investigate, and it's just like the pool of blood and everything. And then and you get that first full shot of the wolf too, whenever he pulls the flashlight up on him,
puts his head up. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh my god, it's amazing. As he's eating everybody.
There's some kind of mad dog.
Yeah.
Bad dog. That's what it is the whole time. It's a dog. It's got to be a dog. You guys are crazy.
I love how they're like holding the door shut, like holding this thing shut. Fucking breaks out and bites that guy's fucking head off.
That part is
like
insane.
his head goes flying into traffic in Piccadilly Circus.
I love it. I love it.
This dude walks over like, oh, what's going on? You know, like all big and bad, and then immediately gets his head cut off.
One chomp at his neck, and you just see that head just land on the car and start rolling. Just whop.
I love how the way it was filmed and shot, like he goes and he chomps on his neck, and it doesn't initially look like all that bad of a chomp, and then like immediately the next shot is his head rolling up
to that head rolling.
Like, Jesus Christ! Like you just see chomp and then head roll, and I'm like, oh my god! Went from 0 to 100.
Just into these scenes, because it's like you have this fucking chaos happening in Piccadilly Circus, and then it cuts back, and the doc's like, I wonder where's David? Is he okay? Or, I don't know. And he's talking to Jenny, and she's like, I don't know where David is. He's like, something about a mad dog and Piccadilly Circus. Okay,
chaos.
Let's go down
Circus. And it turns into a scene straight out of the Blues Brothers, with all these cars just crashing into each other's cars, flipping, people getting like injured.
I know.
John Landis is just great at doing these car
Brothers
crashes.
Track over this. It's on a mission from God, dude. So
but yeah, you know, he's just kind of running through, causing all this mayhem, causing all these crashes and pile-ups, people getting hurt and injured. And then, you know, just culminates into him getting himself trapped in this huge alley that comes to a dead end.
Real quick before you end this, just like they had this thing on like this guy in the suit on like it was almost like if you held somebody like a wheelbarrow and you like walk on your hands. And that's how they did the effect. But man, it is fucking terrifying when the camera's like on the side of it and there's close-ups of this thing like snapping at people, and when it's like walking in between. Oh my god, I don't know. It's just that's super creepy too.
Yeah,
it is.
And it just cuts between like the POVs, and then it cuts to like him actually walking through like around these people and snapping at them and stuff. And oh my god, just that werewolf model just looks amazing. You know,
it is.
Oh,
and I think this is like the first quadrupedal werewolf we've gotten. Well, besides Wolfen, but I think that comes out later in the 80s.
It looks so menacing and scary too. Just even like kind of the far away shot, because it's just huge and hulking just at the end of this alley, just kind of breathing, just kind of moving up and down a little bit.
Backed into a corner there, you know.
And you just see it have a little bit of shadow on him, so you only get a little glimpse of him or kind of an outline. And it's oh my god, it's fantastic. But they just kind of have that standoff with him there. And, you know, the nurse finally comes up and she wants to kind of talk with him. And she you kind of have that moment when she walks up and then she realizes that's not David. This isn't David anymore. Because then you get him. He's about to lunge at her and attack her, and then all
I
hell
thought
breaks
he
loose.
killed
I
her
don't know
in
how she
this
doesn't
scene.
get shot.
I don't know how he doesn't get shot either, but I thought I movie magic, baby.
Movie magic, baby.
Hashtag movie magic.
I really thought that, as my first time watching this movie, I was like, oh my God, he's gonna kill her and not know it. You know what I mean? Just like, but she ended up surviving. They just lighted him up as soon as he lunges at her.
Yeah.
All the cops there with the rifles, which they have great aim, amazing aim.
Amazing aim.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like it would have worked both ways if they did decide to, have him kill her and then they kill him.
Yeah.
Like it would be kind of I don't
Like
know.
a tragedy type of
like a tragedy in a
situation.
way. It would have worked out. But I think it works a little better, with her just kind of sitting there crying. This is what it came to.
Oh yeah.
The gravity of that emotion.
It's 100%. I think it works better that way,
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
when he transforms back.
Yeah.
And I love how it just ends abruptly as it starts.
Oh yeah.
Because he just gets shot down and she's crying. She's like, "Oh God, David!" And then you just see David Naughton just like full of holes, and then just cuts
Credits.
and it's just like ba 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 ba.
Bang 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 bang.
Kick up that blue moon, man, because like it is fucking great.
Yeah.
Like really, really great.
It's fantastic.
I loved
Big
it.
time.
I loved it. Instant classic for me. As far as like one of my favorite horror movies. I don't think favorite horror movie ever or anything like that, but I loved it. I like you said, I loved how it ended as abruptly as it started. Where it was just boom. Credits. It didn't stick around for too long. It wasn't necessarily trying to over-explain anything or anything like that. It was just a movie here for you to enjoy, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it the whole way through there.
It's a classic in cinema here, and even though it is like around its average runtime, I feel like it goes by so fast. Like it's so well paced. It goes by so quick. It's known for its effects, but it's also just such a fucking great movie overall. It's something I always come back to every year.
Effects, man.
Mostly around like October. We'll sit down and watch all these horror movies.
Big time.
I mean, I watch them all year long, but we really kick into overdrive in October, like every night.
Oh yeah. You save a select few for the Halloween season for sure.
Exactly. And this is always one of them, man. Just it's something about a spooky October night. Just watching American Werewolf in London. It's great.
Big time.
What are your overall thoughts on it, Joe?
Like Vernon Wyatt was saying, a lot of people talk about the special effects in this film and they're fantastic, but I feel like that kind of gets overshadowed or overshadows how well this film is put together.
I agree.
Like the editing is on point, the script is on point, the acting is really great. And there's a lot of great cinematography that's utilized in a weird way. Like again, like those far shots. I know it might be because of how they didn't want to like overdo the effects or like show the effects, but like again, that was a choice. Again, like that shot in the subway, super fucking creepy. What was the other one I was just thinking of in the beginning? That shot where sometimes the less you see on screen in this movie, the scarier the scene is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, man, this is like top 10 of like all time. This is an all timer. I never thought that I would be talking about it on a show, like dissecting it. It's just one of those things that like I couldn't. First of all, I can't believe you've never seen it. But if anybody listening hasn't seen this movie somehow, because there's clearly still people out there.
It's a must see. It's a must
see for sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's one of the greatest werewolf movies of all time. I mean, there's not much else I could say that's not already been said about this film. I love it. It was my first werewolf movie, and again, like I said, the behind the scenes Rick Baker stuff was some of this first things I've seen with American Werewolf in London, because again, in that thriller behind the scenes, there's a lot of American Werewolf in London stuff in it.
Yeah.
Scenes from the movie and him doing tests and with David Naughton and casting his hand and shit like that.
Yeah.
So it's very close to me from growing up. I mean, it's still supreme for sure. That's all I really got to say.
Yeah,
it's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome. Man.
It really is.
It really,
it's a
really
classic.
is.
Watch. Everybody watch.
And
It's
like
a
you said,
classic for
it
sure.
does it great with the less is more approach. I know it's cliche to say, but the peak what people go to when it comes to that is Jaws. That's the one everybody goes to where you don't even see the shark until like the last half hour, 35, 40 minutes.
But
of the
again,
movie.
that's an accident because the shark didn't fucking work.
didn't
What I mean?
work.
That was genius, and it was like, dude, they had to make do with it. But
Steven Spielberg's
it
yes,
worked out for the
it
better.
is genius. I planned this the whole time. That's exactly what I wanted to do.
I think that like it was a defining moment for Landis as a director to do something like this where he could incorporate the comedy, but it never overshadows the drama or the horror of this film. It only adds to it and kind of cushions it a little bit.
Yeah.
It makes you laugh, and then it makes you fucking scared, and then it makes you feel bad. And so it has this wide range of emotions to it.
It does.
And I think it's done with such a subtle hand that you don't even realize that it's happening until after you watch it. You're like, holy shit! Like this is really well done.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. Like you said, if anybody hasn't seen it and you're watching this, go out and watch it immediately, ASAP, right now.
100%.
It is on Peacock. I think that's where Vern watched it here. So if you have that, definitely go out and watch it. It's on the cock.
And there is a wealth of behind the scenes stuff for this movie. So if you're into that kind of shit, dive in. The Beware the Moon, the documentary is a great one too.
That's the one
watch.
that's the one that's on this Blu-ray that I watched. Great documentary.
Awesome,
yeah, I did watch that one. And there's also like an actual little like 10-minute thing where they're actually doing the cast of David Naughton's like head and everything, kind of walking you through that process.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
It is. It's really cool.
Very cool.
So if anybody likes that, definitely go scoop a copy and check out all the special features because there's a ton to go through here. So yeah,
and check out that Thriller, the making of Thriller, if you haven't seen it.
I was gonna say, man, I feel like I'm gonna watch that either
dude.
tonight or this weekend at some point. I need to watch that, especially that scene with John Landis and Michael Jackson tickling.
Oh my god, dude, it's hilarious.
Once again, I want to thank you so much, man, for joining us here on the show. It was a great episode. Talk about American Werewolf.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. And I'm so glad I got to talk about this movie because we probably wouldn't have covered it. So thank you so much for having me, and I really appreciate you thinking of me and reaching out. And yeah, I had a blast for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I wanted to try to pick something that you guys wouldn't cover on your show, and I figured this would be one.
Probably because we try to focus on like movies that don't get a lot of attention, but I had a blast talking about this because I probably wouldn't have got the opportunity to, so that it was really fun.
Well, yeah, we're so glad you made the time for us today.
For sure, man.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, of course, no problem. Anytime.
For everybody, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check out all the content across our channel. Definitely go out and check out Movie Dumpster, man. They got tons of fun content. Where can they find you out here, man?
Yeah, you can find us at moviedumpsterpodcast.com. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. We have a YouTube channel you can jump on. We're doing video now, so if that's your thing, you can jump on there and subscribe and check out those videos. If not, we're on like I said, we're on all your favorite podcast platforms, so you can listen to us in the car, at work, whatever you're doing. And yeah, that's it.
Perfect.
All right. And so until next time, we'll see everybody else later.